And peace, love, respect, Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more again. Worldwide movement, peace, love, respect. Family, welcome once again to another episode of Building with Big King. This is episode number 4 of season number 2. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. We're going to give a few more seconds, maybe a minute, for everybody to come filing in. True indeed. Come on in, folks. Matter of fact, like I like to do from time to time, we're going to go ahead and give y'all a little musical treat, right? And we're going to share just a little bit of high vibrational frequency music as you get ready to build with Big King. All right. Matter of fact, why don't we start from my album? And we'll go ahead and just to set the vibe right. This is Flexible by Big King Sadiq.
I'm laid back, way cool, really relaxed. All of this from the dude you know, from dropping facts. I'm chilled out, the real route that we can all take. Adapt to change back, just flex but don't break. Way cool, really relaxed. All of this from the dude you know, from dropping facts. I'm chilled out, the real route that we can all take. Adapt to change back, just flex but don't break. That's right.
Let's get the vibe set. Right? We got the frequency attuned.
How do you feel? How do you chill?
And I'm here, folks. We started off at 3:33 as we do, catching the synchronicity, right? And we're going to go ahead and build.
Instead of lusting on that demon in the mini skirt, you like the other skirt with the righteous queen. She living right, mind tight.
I'm going to let this play out, and then we'll get started.
With a good heart, show equality, respect you from the very start. Plus have a good time. See, that's a peak game. Being comfortable.
Come on in, folks. Come on in with me.
Make a deep change, mentally elevate, seek balance and maintain. The work schedule got you locked into it a little longer. Gotta chill a little sometimes. The pressure's gonna get stronger. You know. But get your mind right and chill. Skies bright with the sunlight plastered. Hit the part just to spark a arc as the timeline goes faster. I'm laid back, way cool, really relaxed. All of this from the dude you know, from dropping facts and chilled out the real.
Let's get relaxed.
As after change
we got something to talk about.
Flexible. I'm Mr. Natural, like nature boy. I appreciate surroundings on this planet with joy. I love a sunny day. I love a snowy scene. I enjoy the fall day in my football team. I like the spring flowers and the ladies too. Somehow they seem more tantalizing when the season is due. See, here in Pittsburgh, we feel 4 seasons. We can appreciate the change is the primary reason. We got different styles for different times of year. Highland Park, we love the party and the shore seems clear. It's a benefit to adapt with change. Keep an open mind and nothing seems that strange. We got good times, the hood gotta discover. We can love all the sisters and brothers. We just got flexible.
Yeah. Shout out to Connecting the Dots with Deanne. Get better. Ancestors, I salute you eternally. May my gratitude to my creator grow exponentially eternally. All right, worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq. Hollering at you one more again, folks. We're going to talk today about a very, very important issue, right? Sort of an issue, but we're going to start off talking about a very important person, right? This brother, honestly, is I consider him to be a hero to all of us, right? In a magnificent example of what it takes to stand up to the socially economic elite and do what's right and hold true to your promises to yourself, your family, and your people. And that is the great and late Muamar Gaddafi. That's right. That's right. I'm going to take today's podcast and honor the great Muamar Gaddafi. Well, Big King, as far as we know, he was a shady dude, and we had to go over there. We always say we, right? And really, these are the actions, orders, agenda, and implementations of the socially economic elite and the military industrial complex as it has functioned in the United States, right? The lies of the propaganda machine utilized by these elites, particularly here in the US, is what got you to think the way you do about Muammar Gaddafi, some folks, right? Thinking that he's a bad guy, a shadowy figure, some sort of I've heard all sorts of descriptions and misnomers. He's a crazy communist who just wanted to bring that to the U.S. and all sorts of different things, right? That are spinoffs of the lies and the propaganda created by the U.S. to publicly mar the legacy of this man. And again, I assert that they were lies. Now, what I'm going to do is begin to talk to you a little bit about the truth of Muammar Gaddafi, right? Here's a man, first of all, before he even got into power or took office, he made a promise to the people of Libya that he would think of them first, that he would look after their well-being first. And his promise was that he would see no Libyan be homeless, not one homeless person. And he would accomplish that goal before he even bought his mama a house, was the promise that he made. And guess what? He kept his promise. During his time in Libya, they enjoyed a 0 homeless rate. Rewind the selector. Let's go back one more time and revisit that statement. We live in this country where we're supposed to be the richest country. We're supposed to be the most advanced, the most forward-thinking country. And we have heaps and heaps and thousands of homeless people, sometimes in just one city. Look at the homeless problem in California. Look at the homeless problem in Texas. I could take you right downtown Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and show you the homeless problem. This man accomplished 0 homeless in the country of Libya. And again, he did that before he even bought his own mama house. Now you compare that to the selfish, myopic, self-serving, agenda-adhering actions of politicians that we have had over here in the West. Ooh, those who lied about them. How many people were homeless in the United States when Bush and his propaganda, I'm talking about Bush Sr., and his propaganda machine, right? Because he was all in the deep state. I don't know so much about young Bush, but Bush Sr., very much a part of the deep state scenery, right? How many people were homeless in this very country while he was busy spreading lies about Muamar Gaddafi? Not only that, there was no famine. Nobody went hungry in Libya. Huh? Can we say that again? There was no famine. No one went hungry in Libya. Huh? Muammar Gaddafi accomplished that. The same man that our minds over here in the West, because I even at one point thought this way out of ignorance. The same man who our minds were poisoned against was a champion and a hero to his people, if just for those two things alone. For the first thing alone, right? Think about what's happening right now in the US and around the world. How many people are homeless? How many people are starving? Huh? During his time, Libyans were offered free education up to including 4 years of college if they so chose. Interesting. Interesting to all of you, huh? For free. To all of you with dealing with the exorbitant, ridiculous cost of secondary education in this country. Think about that. Think about that. Also, all right, we got a little bit of a glitch. We'll give it a moment. Okay, we back. Also, during his time, every single Libyan citizen received a yearly stipend from the government. Their fair share of the country's massive and lucrative oil sales. Okay? And for those of y'all who will quickly go to, that's how he was able to accomplish everything because they had so much oil over there. What resources do we have here in this country that we are or are not correctly utilizing? Furthermore, have we utilized the dollars and cents that hard-working Americans have earned and given over in the form of taxes to our country? Do we not have our own Pentagon repeatedly, if I'm not mistaken, over 6 times in a row, failing their audit to the tune of billions of dollars that they just can't explain? Oh, we're not exactly sure where it went. How many trillions of dollars over the years have been misspent, right? Or even in some instances, in many instances actually, criminally spent by shadow government organizations within our country and all around the world, but specifically with our dollars right here in this country, and missions that they launched all over the world, right? These are legitimate questions to be asking. And we see that born out because Congress is asking these questions right now. Not just me. Don't just take it from Big King Sadiq. Your Congress is asking these questions right now as there is at least starting to be a change in government as well. Folks, the days of the old paradigm are fading and flip-flopping on out the door as quick as your next breath. You got to know it and understand what's going on. So another thing about Muammar Gaddafi, like I said, each citizen of Libya enjoyed that stipend as well. Also, he didn't stop in his country because, see, they were straight, right? Libya was straight. I just gave you a nice little picture of the atmosphere of what it was like to be a Libyan under Muammar Gaddafi. They were straight, okay? So he didn't stop there. Excuse me, and for those of you who may not be aware, Libya is a country in northern Africa, or the continent that we refer to so oftenly as Africa. Okay? He didn't stop there. He went to other countries in Africa and started to show them how they were being usurped blatantly, viciously, by colonizing forces like Great Britain, for example. In many ways, the US, for example, Spain, France, and many others. Because how many of those, what's that funny little phrase they like to throw around? Third world countries. How many of those were in the continent of Africa? Starting to get the picture a little bit. But yet Africa is the continent richest in natural resources. Don't take my word for it. Check into it for yourself. And let's just put those two things together. How is it that the continent that enjoys this wealth of natural resources, the most in bevy, the most cash, right? The most treasure chest of natural resources in comparison to any other continent in the world. But somehow the countries within this continent are the most poor, downtrodden, and taken advantage of countries in the world. That's the sort of thing that Muammar Gaddafi was starting to point out to other countries in the continent of Africa, many of which members of the United Nations. And when he gave his historic speech on the floor, most notable in the historic speech on the floor of the United Nations, a lot of eyes centered their gaze on this hero, this national, shall I say, international hero. Because not only did he bring that awareness to those countries, he was doing something about their condition and spending from the wealth of Libya to help and aid those other countries directly. He was even taking of Libya's gold supply, which was very plentiful. Who knows what got raided by the U.S. some kind of way or some other. I'm just throwing that out hypothetically. I don't know. But he took from their wealth to help their neighbors, their brothers and sisters in the other parts of the continent, to start to lay down the foundation of setting up new banks and financial structures in these countries that have been failing and, in fact, had been sabotaged by the same colonizers who usurped them. And when he brought all of that to the floor of the United Nations. And when he spoke the truth about the fact that what in the world has happened in the United Nations now that they combine forces to get rid of Hitler, only to allow this cabal to surface within the United Nations of this elite group of most powerful nations. Come on now. And they get the most say so somehow? No, no, no. And by him putting himself in a position to educate and to stand up and actually do something with the resources he controlled, to do something toward change and making the lives better of millions upon actually hundreds of millions of people on this planet, if not billions, by the impact of the changes he was trying to make. Before what? Before the U.S. comes in, after the propaganda campaign, first we got to smear them real good so that we make ourselves look like the good guys. But really, we know that he's making changes that will damage our delicate structure of the socially economic elite ruling the planet and usurping from everyone else. That we can't have that. So we're going to do a real good smear campaign on him, and then we're going to get him up out of here. Oh, we're just going to kill him. So they made an attempt. They end up killing his innocent daughter. And somehow a lot of United States citizens celebrated that, many of which I will admit, I'll put no blame on you, was the result of indoctrination and lies that were fed to you by your government. Right? And many of you unknowing, you had no idea this man was actually a hero, did you? You had no idea that this was a loving and caring man who cared about all of the people of his country and all the people of his continent and, in fact, the world. Huh? And that's who we allowed as United States citizens, our country, to mar the legacy of. That's who we allowed our country in our name to go and attempt to assassinate, and then later on give all the support needed to the new regime that forcefully took him out of office and in fact killed him in the streets. Just what they wanted. Just what they wanted. Come on, folks. This is the kind of stuff we got to talk about in 2025, right? We got to be real about, and we got to be willing to stand up and educate each other about and unite behind issues, topics, motivation, I say inspiration, like Muamar Gaddafi. Many of you may still have those indoctrination latent ideas planted in your mind. You may really think this guy was a bad guy. You may think, here's Big King Sadiq up here taking up for this monster who we had to go to war against. And that wasn't the case at all. We're talking about a hero who this country helped be assassinated. A hero who was directly attacked by this country, and members of his family killed, including his beautiful baby girl. Now, you tell me, is that heroic on our part? Is that really how we want to be represented in the world? Is that the legacy you want left in the world as an American? Well, I tell you one thing. They tried to smear that brother's legacy, and I'm not going to let it be smeared. I'm not going to sit back and quietly not speak up about a hero, a national and, in fact, an international hero who we should have been supporting, championing, and getting behind his innovative ideas for change. That's what should have happened. He should have gone to the United Nations and gotten support. Instead, he was conspired against and ultimately murdered. So Yeah, I wanted to bring some recognition to people like that because it's going to be people like that. Fearless people. Do you think he didn't know? Do you think he wasn't being threatened the whole time? Right? Sure, sure. And he still did what he needed to do, what he had to do, what felt right in his heart to do for his entire country, for his entire continent, and for the world. That's the kind of people we have to get behind to bring our new paradigm into fruition, to become a reality. So, yes, indeed, you better betcha. Big King Sadiq salutes Muammar Gaddafi. And how many other good-hearted, heroic world leaders have been smeared by this country's propaganda machine? How many times have we been misled by our own government and our money spent to take down heroes? How many times? How many? How many? How many? I'm going to leave that an open question for you to think about. And I'm going to ask folks, come on in the chat. Let's talk about it. Please holler at me, because best believe there are people here domestically who they did similar things to. We talked about the fact that the classified documents on Dr. King's assassination, President Kennedy's assassination, 9/11, the other domestic terroristic events, UFO, UAP, and USO, all these files becoming declassified. All these things are coming out, folks, sensitive, raw nerve touching or not. We got to be realistic going forward in 2025. You're going to get reality when you come to build here with Big King Sadiq, regardless of whose feathers get ruffled in the government by the socially economic elite or any of their vestiges, right? Because we have to move forward with a clear-eyed, well-informed, open-minded, well-grounded in high vibrational frequency principles, perspective that cannot be easily swayed or skewed by propaganda and lies. And a big part of us doing that is realizing how frequently we've fallen victim or allowed it to happen to us in the past, especially when it involves real heroic people that we should have gotten behind. Right? How many remember Malcolm X? We all should. Yet another hero snuffed out right in front of us. I already mentioned the heroic, incredible, magnificent Dr. King. They know where he was headed, where the changes and how what he was saying was steered toward. He pointed out many instances of corruption in the government and neglect of the needs of the American people, and in fact, the people around the world. Do you think they like that? Do you think maybe that made Dr. King a target? Think about this stuff, folks. How many people today are being lied about? Now, I'm not jumping to the defense of people who have done things that were wrong and shouldn't have done and illegal or whatever. I'm not jumping to anybody's defense. It's not my job to be a defense attorney, right? But I am saying when we see the mainstream legacy media machine hopping on something, chances are there's a little bit more than meets the eye going on. Chances are there's plenty lies and indoctrination within their message. Chances are if we allow ourselves to, we would be misled. How could you say such things, Big King? Big King? Have we not been paying attention in the past 7 to 10 years alone? Right? How many things were we lied about in reference to the recent pandemic? How many things were we misled about? How many people were made out to be horrific people, citizens, crackpots, crazy? Only now, a few years later, for us to say, oh, wow, that was the case. Oh, wow, that was accurate. Oh, wow, they knew what they were talking about. Oh, wow, those doctors actually knew what they were saying a little bit more than paid figures like Mr. Fauci. How many doctors in the state of California alone were literally threatened with losing their licenses and perhaps even lawsuits just by saying things that may have been construed as contrary to what the official position of the CDC was during the pandemic? Think about that. Think about that. And how much now have we later learned they were completely on point about, and were just being responsible in educating the public, and it was not allowed. It was censored. Think about it. Facebook has already admitted to such. That ain't me. That's not coming from me, folks. See, you do the research and check these things out. Facebook's leaders admitted this stuff, among other social media platforms, that the government used them in such propaganda-like ways. Come on, man. This is what I'm saying overall, and I'm gonna open it back up to y'all. We can no longer afford to be easily duped by narratives that are fed to us. We have to do our own free thinking research, come up with our own conclusions, and discuss that amongst ourselves in forums like this. The more we do that, the more this entire system continues to crumble right before our very eyes. I like to say it, folks. It's like giant shards of glass just collapsing and breaking into a million pieces, because that is what is left of the new paradigm. The place where those giant shards were. It's just remnants, folks. We don't have to move forward in the old paradigm at all. We don't. We have to choose to move forward in the new paradigm. We have to choose to move forward in the new paradigm according to what we want, what conclusions we've come to in determining the best direction for ourselves, our family, our friends, all of those who we love and care about. And we can no longer fall for propaganda about folks who may be real life heroes, just like Brother Muamar Gaddafi. All right. That's all I got to say about the late, great Muamar Gaddafi. If anybody has any questions or comments, please jump right on in the chat. Not only do that, announce yourself so we can say hi, man. I'll be here for a little bit longer, and I'll give it some time. But I felt, and for those of you all who may be wondering about today's content and why it wasn't what we surmised we might be able to get to this week, Deanne of Connecting the Dots with Deanne is not feeling all that well, and We send her tons of love. Bye, loved ones. I love you. Namaste. Tons of. I had to take a second, y'all. Say goodbye and I love you to my grandchildren. But anyway, yeah, we want Dion to get Deanne to get better as quickly as possible. We send her tons, literally tons of healing energy and love, and we know she'll be 100% soon. So again, folks, for anybody who missed it, we were talking about Muammar Gaddafi and the truth of his legacy and how it has been marred in the eyes of the West. Please, again, anyone who has a question, a comment, a thought, opinion, something about today's subject matter, please put it in the chat. And feel free just to jump on in and say what's up to Big King. I love to say what's up to y'all. That's what's up. Jump in and say hi. And let's continue this forum where, again, we're not, in this particular forum, folks, we're not going to let ourselves be easily duped, right? We won't let ourselves be tricked or easily swayed into some narrative that does not serve us. There go my brother, God Science. God Science 7. Thank you, family. Always count on that brother, right? He comes in and helps make this form what it is. And that means a lot. Even when sometimes it gets a little thin. The brother being here build with me. I appreciate that. True indeed. True indeed. Thank you, family. Yeah, man, I had to do this because, you know, the propaganda machine that the U.S. spins out has marred the name of Muammar Gaddafi and that brother's legacy horribly. True, yeah, true indeed, man. And Muammar Gaddafi, if we really look at what he did for that small but prominent country in northern Africa, Libya, and then what he tried to do for the entire continent and the entire world, in fact, this brother needs to be saluted, and I wasn't going to be remiss in doing so. I had to do this. And again, it also goes along with the thought that we got to realize how much of that is happening today. How many people are being lied about today? How many people are being, are we given a false narrative about because they may be against or not aligned with the mainstream agenda, with the socially economic elite's agenda? How many people are really trying to do something positive, good, forward thinking, powerful in this world, and we're being lied to about it today? The same way we were lied to about Muammar Gaddafi, right? How many people is that happening to today? And we really have to make sure that we maintain a form, and we, all of us in this form, right, maintain a mindset that is not easily swayed, that we're more nuanced than that. That we hear things, we consider it, and then we pause and give it a little more thought. Then we do a little research. Then we check into this and check into that. And then we say, oh, this is what's really going on. And we move from there. As opposed to just, oh, we're fed this agenda, let's go with it. Right? We don't, what's the brother, Roderick Martin? Powerful. Check that brother out too. Has got the podcast Truth versus Authority, which I think is aptly titled, because often that's what we're looking at, right? We have the truth, which is there and is always available if you seek it vehemently enough, right? And then you have the authority that will always roll out their narrative. Well, now we're taking the authority back from those, right? From those who have chosen to assert themselves as authorities. Reminds me recently how I was in the conversation. I told this story, I believe, last week with this doctor, but the part that I didn't highlight is that immediately in the conversation, he says to me, well, I'll assume to be the authority since I'm a medical doctor, right? And I let him say his spiel and did his thing. And then when I went to go and talk, I said, I'll take the authority right back, right? And then I dropped some facts on his ass. Stop. Not in a confrontational way, but in a way that let him and all vestiges of the socially economic elite and their power structure realize that people are waking up and people are going to give them pushback that they can't easily just label as nonsense, right? That we are nuanced enough, we are informed enough, and we are intelligent enough to make up our own minds, even if it is contrary to what they want to feed to us, right? True that. Hey, God Sign 7, my brother, thank you. I appreciate you. I'm gonna stay here for a couple of more minutes because I often have some latecomers to the conversation, and in case some of them decide to pile in, I want to be here, right? But man, thank you to that brother for being in here with me, brother. God Sign 7, man. I salute you. Strength. All right. What I'm gonna do right now is throwing one more Big King Sadiq song off of the album. This is Vibing High, right? True indeed. Not just with the effects of the cannabis, uh, marijuana, ganja, righteous brethren, sister and brethren, right? But we need to think about how long this plant has been aiding so many of us in so many ways, right? Oh, yes, indeed, my brother. I appreciate you. Truly, I do. And anybody else, please holler at me and announce yourself in the chat. I love to say what's up to you too. But yeah, we need to think about the aid that we've gotten from this beautiful plant for so long, and let it not just be about consumption, but be about a relationship that is taking you to higher consciousness. All right, and that's kind of what this song is about. The connection between the two, higher consciousness and the brethren, sister and brethren, marijuana, ganja, righteous cannabis. Listen to the beginning, folks. For those who are catching what I'm putting down, it's pretty heavy. What Rakim say, heavy as hip hop is, I'm already ready to drop it, right? Here we go, fam.
Vibing high, vibing high, vibing high, vibing high, vibing high, vibe with me, smoke with me,
Please do.
Get high with
Come
me,
on.
Get high with me, vibing high, vibing high, vibing high, vibing high, get high with me, shine with me, fly with me, fly with me.
We're doing the video on the podcast. Woo! Man, I love y'all. I love y'all. This is what I was born to do. This podcast, my channel, my books, my music, my lectures, interviews, everything that I do, narration. I love y'all. And we're going to do this, man. We're going to do it. Worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Now, hold up. Listen to how I came into the track. Rewind to select that. Because I don't think y'all caught that. Pineal charged up. Third eye open. Melanin activated. Subject matter thought provoking. We really not just poking at the surface conscious, hoping that we focus, so we knowing that we really floating on the high vibration. Come on, man. Y'all better get down with Big King. Brother Silo. I'm outside. Hold up, man. Don't have me running out this front door like I know Brother Silo ain't in the bird. Nah, can't be. He just saying he outside out in Cali.
not just poking at the surface, conscious, hoping that we focus, so we knowing that we really floating on a high vibration. Kundalini activation, we achieve that. Best believe that, and be impressed with individual spiritual progress on the path to fifth dimensional consciousness. Yes, something we should want for one
Come on,
another.
huh?
So my sisters,
Rewind the selector.
Get high with me, shine with me, fly with me, fly with me, vibing high, vibing high.
Woo! Brother Silo.
Charged up.
Third eye open, melanin activated, subject matter thought provoking. We really not just poking at the surface, conscious, hoping that we focus, so we knowing that we really floating on a high vibration. Kundalini activation, we achieve that. Best believe that, and be impressed with individual spiritual progress on the path of fifth dimensional consciousness. Yes. Come on, man. Woo. Thank you, God Science. Thank you, Brother Silo. We gotta build, family. We gotta build, man. Hit me. I'm put my number in the chat real quick.
Passing knowledge too. There's always a conversation there for me and you. That's how we do. And high vibrations keep it true. No deception flicking through.
This is my number, y'all. I'm putting it in the chat right now. Anybody hit me?
Like King Sadiq would do. Vibe with me. Smoke with me. Get high with me.
Woo!
Get high with me. Vibing high. Vibing high. Vibing high. Vibing high. Get high with me. Shine with me. Fly with me. Fly with me. Vibing high. Vibing high. Vibing high.
Word life.
Vibing high. Awaken early morning. Prayers as I rise. Energy ascending. The sun is in my eyes.
Hit the bathroom to freshen my physical expression.
I'm feeling no stress. I'm just so blessed.
Ooh.
Saturday is arrived. I want to socialize.
I spread throughout the hood. Peaceful, explosive vibes.
As for my dress today, it's an impressive splice
Between comfort for me and something ladies think is nice.
I think it's twice. Ain't that aroma nice? I'm so
Yeah.
ready for smoking. Select the part that's right. Plug a quarter ounce straight from my tree of life. Gotta smoke that with my tribe. We link up on sight. They say variety, really that's the spice of life. We put our paws together, that's looking really right. Roll it up a pack of bowl. We about to take flight. We hit the park for smoking. It's going down tonight. Vibe with me, smoke with me, get high
Woo!
with me, get high with me. Vibe with me. Shine with me, fly with me, fly with me, vibing high, vibing high, vibing high, vibing high.
And for those of you who do not know, we should have never been kept from the brethren, sister and brethren, marijuana, ganja, righteous cannabis. That was a plot and ploy thought up by Harry Anslinger, crooked politician in my purview, and one of his partners, a paper tycoon.
That's when I found out.
So yeah, that was yet another plot and ploy.
There are
Don't feel
opportunities
some
in
type of
over
way
4,000
about
cities.
smoking marijuana,
Signing up was super
ganja,
easy.
righteous
And
cannabis.
before long, I was already
We
making
were
deliveries.
given that thought as propaganda. Wow, that ties right in with the subject matter. Ties right in with the subject matter. They used a similar smear campaign, style-wise, and right, against marijuana that they did on Brother Muamar Gaddafi and others in our world's history, right? Man, we just got to be more nuanced and more thorough than to fall for such ploys and tricks, right? That's how we doing that. That's how we doing that. Brother Silo, Tony Atlas, and brother God Science, man, I thank you both tremendously, and anybody else who's tuned in and chimed in. It means a great deal to me if one of you stop in and say what's up. It means a great deal to me if somebody just checks it out later. But I really love when we can get together in this forum, especially when it's a bunch of us and start to talk and kick around ideas, right? Thank you, family, and kick around ideas on how we can do just what the purpose of this podcast is. Build, right? Build the blocks that we're going to lay out as the foundation for our new paradigm moving forward. And we like to say, round here, that is a new paradigm centered in and around high vibrational frequency concepts like peace, love, respect. Right? All right, family. Man, if anybody else got any more comments, questions, any statements, anything you want to say, whether it be about Brother Muamar Gaddafi, who again we were so vehemently lied to about and fed a false narrative about, whether it be about anybody else who that was done to, right? Or the way that propaganda really distracts us and veers us away from people, places, things, ideas, concepts, information that would help us all move forward in a new high vibrational frequency paradigm of peace, love, respect. True indeed. Anybody got anything else before I close this episode out? Man, again, I can't give enough thanks to God Science. I look forward, my brother, to working with you in the future, right? Brother Silo, always a pleasure. Can't wait to build with you again. And everybody, even if you just came and peeked in real quick, I appreciate you, right? And I love you all. True indeed. Thank you, family. I appreciate you all and I love you all. And join me next week. Now, next week, we may do what we were thinking about doing this week with Connecting the Dots with Deanne from Connecting the Dots with Deanne. Again, please check out her channel, Connecting the Dots with Deanne. We may do that AI podcast next week. I don't know yet. It depends on how things go during the course of the week. With me and her being able to communicate and how she feels and all those things. But either way it goes, we'll be back here talking about something powerful, right? Next week. And again, I thank and welcome you all to please be with us. Again, anybody, any other comments or questions or statements about Muamar Gaddafi, anybody else who actually was a hero that we were fed a false narrative to and given propaganda to steer our vision of this man incorrectly, he was made out to be some sort of a shadowy, dark figure when in reality was a hero and one of the great leaders of all time. Okay? Let me state that again. Muamar Gaddafi was a hero and one of the great leaders of all time, of any nation. Let that go down in history because that's more correct. All right. Anything about him, anybody else that may be happening to today, including any of you, right? Thank you, God Signs. True indeed. Yeah, anybody, because they haven't veered from that playbook, folks, is what I'm trying to get you to understand. And I know many of you do, that they haven't veered from that playbook. So if we see more people thrown under the bus or heaped in, we can listen because maybe they did it, maybe they didn't. But let's not just automatically go with whatever the narrative is and say, and then start to think whatever we're told to think, Let's think what we should think based off facts and our own free thinking research. Okay? All right, family. I love you all. Thank you once again for building with your brethren, Big King Sadiq. Another magnificent week that we were able to get together and keep this forum that we've built now over 2 seasons. This was the 4th episode of season number 2. That's a beautiful thing in itself. So I thank you all for that. And next week, I look truly forward to, again, hopefully building with Deanne, of connecting the dots from Deanne. We'll see how that goes. But certainly either way, I look so forward to getting together with all of you again, and even more of you, hopefully. Everybody tell somebody to come on with them next week, right? And tell those folks to invite somebody, and let's all meet up here, same time, same channel, 3:33 on YouTube, Big King Sadiq. The synchronicity, 55. We just hit it. I love you all. I'm out.